Friday.
Okay.
Which makes me happy.
All right. We need to talk about the travel schedule one last final time so I can make sure to finalize it and make sure everybody is in here. Yeah. This is This is gonna be a day.
This is the day. Yesterday was a day. Today's the after day. I don't know. Every day is a day at this point in this world.
Speaking of it being...
I'm looking up draft ages last night.
You're not going. You're a woman.
I know, but for my sweet husband, I wasn't meant to be an army wife.
He and I can get gay married. They won't let us in.
I told him I'd break his leg.
No, you don't have to injure him. Just like he'll divorce you, I'll divorce mine.
That's so sweet.
We'll get married, and then they won't let us. They won't let us in.
Stop.
What? Reports are that Iran has sights on a couple of U.S. targets now. That's going to be great when that pops off.
I just don't want Memphis to be the random city that gets through. You know, like, that one doesn't matter.
I guess.
What?
I guess. But wouldn't you want it to be from an Iranian standpoint? Like, you know what? Memphis is pretty bad. We're just not going to go over there.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay.
Cool. No, I meant the alternative.
Of?
Like...
Memphis is important?
No.
We got to go take out the Bass Pro Pyramid?
There's a big computer here now.
Oh. Is it here? It is here.
It's here.
It's throwing all that pollutant in the air and whatnot. Oh, don't breathe like that.
Let me drink my water.
At least that's clean for now. For now it is. What was the song?
Tyla, Truth or Dare. It's a good song. Came out for 2023 album. Self-named Tyla. Now you care, truth or dare. Are you playing truth or dare? I'll forgive her for dare and playing, not rhyming, but
They don't have to rhyme.
yeah, it's a soft rhyme.
If you're good enough, you can force a rhyme, soft rhyme, or not.
I tried to rewrite the Canadian anthem last night.
Why?
Because they lost again.
What?
Oh, Canada.
With the way things are
Why
going.
can't you win a car?
With the way things are going, we should probably ease up off of Canada.
Oh, I'm happy to.
Yeah, we should probably.
There were Canadians on the Panthers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, what are we doing here?
It's not Americans out there.
What's up, everybody? It is a Wednesday, June 18th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, Ja Morant is staying in Memphis. Sources him. We will get into the moment that unified Grizzlies fans yesterday that led to Ja Morant tweeting and the common enemy of the city of Memphis. Wild night in sports last night. Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. WNBA had brawls, beef squashed, and Commissioner's Cup finalists named. DeAngelo Williams will join us about 40 minutes in. We never know what we'll chat with him about. We'll do some WTF. It is a Wednesday. You know what we say. I am so grateful, CJ, that I made it to work safely today. And you too. Marked safe.
Yay.
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 Like every day.
Every single side.
Every day.
Every day.
Except Is your child a natural-born entertainer? Now is their chance to join the most talented youth dance crew in the Mid-South, the Blue Bunch. The Blue Bunch entertains Grizz Nation with their energetic dance routines and even have the opportunity to collaborate on performances with leading artists in the entertainment industry. Kids ages 7 to 17 are invited to show off their skills and personality for their chance to join the next generation of NBA entertainers. Open auditions are Saturday, June 28th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Tony Allen joining us. I believe Hey!
Young TA with a fresh chop. That boy sliced today, boy. You say that boy got the tape on the side. Okay, TA.
Hey, and I like how you blurred out your background so we can't see that La Quinta this time.
Can't see the hole in the wall, TA.
Can't see the hole in the wall.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You get to the main event, and you hear the crowd. There's some rumblings in the crowd.
Here we go.
They say, "We want truth."
I love how John Cena said when they were chanting, "We want truth." You can't handle the truth.
There you go.
I loved it.
He takes the knee off, boom. Takes the mask off, boom. And it's our freaking truth. God, man, he cost John Cena the match.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. A lot to get into today because yesterday was crazy. It was a crazy day. We're going to call it a fight day. Wasn't sure if we were going to go to a war, a world war by the end of the day. We had a domestic war in the WNBA with what popped off in the Fever Sun game. Florida won the hockey war. Desmond Bane is in a war versus Grizzlies facilities now that he's down in Orlando with windows and out of the dungeon. We've got nothing to do but talk about fights today.
Just before we get going,
Into the
hot
big
and heavy,
fight.
into the
main event.
The main event. I frequent the dungeon. I enjoy the dungeon. The chamber of negativity exists in the dungeon, in the dark, shadowy catacombs of the dungeon. But I can understand why somebody will be like, oh, I can step outside and see a beach or something like that.
Okay, I just want to be perfectly clear because our studio actually overlooks the Grizzlies' practice court. And the way I can see the practice court is because there are windows that are on top of the practice court. There are windows for the court. They're talking about, in this situation, the weight room and the facilities under the arena. And yes, I know the Grizzlies are one of, I think someone went and did the research, 3 NBA teams that have their facilities still in the arena. Desmond Bane, beloved by Memphis, but my God, is he making it difficult at certain points when, from the jerseys to the facilities to the dungeon,
to the handshake,
to the dap heard round the world. Listen, we don't need to talk about that right now. We have to talk about the biggest local fight. It's the city of Memphis versus Stephen A. Smith, because First Take airs after CJ and I get off the air. And so CJ and I, following yesterday's show, we went and took a Pilates class in the city of Memphis. Just want everyone to know. Whatever you perceive Memphis to be. CJ and I went to a Pilates class, and then I got a nice smoothie. Nice little smoothie from Groovy Gratitude next door. Evolve Pilates, great little spot. Come out of it. I have like 6 text messages. Did you see Stephen A. Smith? Did you see Stephen A. Smith? I'm like, oh my God. Multiple group chats. And my husband. And other people. My national group chat. Not, that sounded weird.
Have a national? You're national.
It's me and Pete Hexeth on, what's it called?
On
I don't know what the thing is called. Dang, that was gonna be such a good joke.
You left it in there. It was good.
Whatever it wasn't Slack, but the equivalent of that. Signal. Late, but we got it. Anyway, I have all these messages about Stephen A. Smith, and so then I have to go back and watch the video, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Maybe this will just blow over. It did not blow over. It turned into the conversation of the day. And listen, the clip itself has already received way too much play in this city. So I will paraphrase in case you somehow missed Stephen A. Smith on First Take yesterday. They were having a conversation about should the Grizzlies trade Ja Morant, because we have at maximum 2 games left in the NBA season, NBA Finals. Thunder are on the brink of winning it all. Can the Pacers somehow figure out what to do? Is Tyrese Halliburton even going to be available? There are conversations to be had. We're a week away from the draft, but no, we're going to spend an entire segment on should the Grizzlies trade Ja Morant. And at the end of that conversation, Stephen A. Smith was talking to Marcus Morris, and he goes, are you going to tell folks why nobody wants to be in Memphis, or do you want me to do it? And to Marcus Morris's credit, he was like, I'd love to be in Memphis. You just have to identify the guys who are a good fit in Memphis, who want to be in Memphis. Sometimes it's harder with younger guys. And then Stephen A. Smith further was pushed on, well, Stephen, like, why do you think players don't want to be in Memphis? And he starts by saying, it's a great sports town, great fans, great people, but there's always a but. And this but was followed by, and I quote, there's an element there where cats like Jimmy Butler and others don't feel like it's the safest environment. I'm talking to the local authorities in Memphis. You've got to clean some of that stuff up because it's dissuasive to NBA players. They have talked about it. I know. They've told me. What are we doing here? What are we, that was my initial reaction. What are we doing here? Because Stephen A. Smith is the biggest voice, and he is, whether you like him or not, he is the biggest voice of the NBA on ESPN, the worldwide leader, whether you like that or not. The network that hosts the NBA Finals, a partner of the league, and that biggest voice on the cusp of free agency is suggesting that one of the markets of the league cannot get free agents because they are concerned with crime in Memphis. CJ, what was your first reaction when this originally was brought to your attention?
So you brought it to my attention right after class because people are talking to you and you're not responding. It's like, what the hell is she doing? What is going on over there? You are focused and locked in.
I turtle into my phone in that situation.
You absolutely turtled in. May as well have given you a shell, Michelangelo. And so I talked to you like, hey, Stephen A. has started some stuff on social, and so I went and I saw it, and I was like, oh, no. That's not what we're going to do. Not in the great state of Memphis, Tennessee. We are not going to allow that to be said. We've got to come together. And I had people, I was like, okay, let me go see what this person is saying. We all know who the people are in the city who are the most vocal and do the best job of defending the city when things like this pop up. So let me go find them and was like, hey, right on, retweet if this matters at all. I don't know what matters and what doesn't matter. But it's summertime, these conversations end up happening in this city where it's like, okay, you're rage baiting at this point. Yes. Right? This city has way better barbecue than Memphis. Like, no, it doesn't, but I get it. You want people to click, oh, Memphis this, Memphis that, right? It seems like once or twice a summer, somebody nationally takes a shot at Memphis that isn't called for, isn't necessary, and isn't true. And most of the time, like water off a hippo's ass, I just let it roll, and I don't pay it attention because I don't think that you have to spend a whole lot of time defending a city as unique, as special, as truly loved. Like, the citizens of Memphis and love each other, right? I don't think you have to go through there and defend that. But when it's somebody like Stephen A. Smith, for the reasons you laid, like, this is the face of the NBA coverage. This is somebody on the worldwide leader in sports. You can't let that slide. You can't let that roll off. You have to come to Memphis' defense. And immediately, I went into my closet when I got home. I pulled out my Memphis cape, which has admittedly got cobwebs and dust on it, and I am prepared to throw it on right now and keep it on for an extended period of time and cape for this damn city. Because there's as somebody who doesn't have a hometown, truthfully, military brat, bounced around a lot, people know this, Memphis is home for me.
Right.
Memphis has welcomed me and embraced me. Now, has every day of my life in Memphis been great? No. But there have been way more exceptional great days than there have been bad down in the dump type days, right? Have I dealt with some of the car break-in stuff? Absolutely. But that's not going to deter me from being out here in this city, mingling with the citizens, interacting with the citizens, stop me from participating in major Memphis events. We love the festivals in Memphis. My wife and I do. We love where we stay in Orange Mound, Tennessee. My wife and I do. We bring family members through. We invite friends and family to the Southern Heritage Classic so we can kick it at the parade. We invite them over just on a random Saturday, Sunday, and we get out on the grill, right? Memphis is a great place to be. If you don't know it and you don't like it, that's fine. If you don't know it and you want to know it, come through. If you don't know it and you don't like it, stay where the hell you at, dog. Like, I don't know what else to say at this point.
If you don't know it and you're interested, you'll probably be given an opportunity to fall in love with the city, because that's what happened to me. And that's what happens to so many people who, I am a non-unique story in having moved to Memphis 8 years ago with the intention to stay in Memphis for 2 years. And when I tell people, oh, my husband and I have been here 8 years, we now own a home here, they laugh and say, oh, that's Memphis for you. It's a city that drags you. And if that is a common response, how on earth you can overly categorize all NBA players, and listen, like we're gonna deal in some facts here, some facts over feelings, as some would say. It's hard to recruit players to small markets, period. This is not a unique Memphis problem. And I cannot sit here and say whether Jimmy Butler told Stephen A. Smith that he didn't want to come to the Memphis Grizzlies because of crime. Perhaps that was his reality, and that's fine. People make excuses for not moving to a city all the time. When I came home and told Chris that I had come to an interview with Local 24 in Memphis, Tennessee, and by God, I loved it. I couldn't describe why I felt a connection with the city when I visited here for my interview, but I knew that if I was offered the job, I wanted us to move to Memphis. And you want to know what we did? We looked at Memphis, Tennessee. And you want to know what came up? The crime statistics. And you want to know where we were sitting? On our carpet in a little dinky apartment in the Tri-Cities, Washington. And we looked at each other and we said, sounds like a city. Sounds like a city. Let's go off for an adventure. This seems like a cool, unique place to live. And again, we're only going to be there for 2 years. And now we're here from 8 because we love it here. And I have to get to the most important part. And we will continue the defending of Memphis, because if there is one thing that unifies this city, it is when someone comes for the city. And I do appreciate the pushback of the people who are here, who understand what it is to live in Memphis, to be a Memphian, and to be connected to the city. And one of those people is Ja Morant. And perhaps the greatest part of yesterday is that Ja Morant posted on Twitter, starting with, the original post was talking about the Grizz more than the finals with these cap-ass sources. That's the first tweet. After that, it's the one that's third on this screenshot. It's, and I'm going to be in the 901, bear emoji, source, me. Can't get a better source than that. And then he went and continued with that third tweet. Instead of focusing on the performances we've seen from J-Dub, Shea, TJ Siakam, how this series is going, we say something negative about a city team on a national level. I love that he included TJ McConnell instead of Tyrese Halliburton. Cracks me up, because sports are rivalries. Everything is wrestling. And TJ wore his shoes.
Do you think it's a rival type thing, or do you think he was like, hey, there's good stuff to talk about. You don't have to, because that's the way I took it. You don't have to be so focused on the negative. There are truly remarkable things happening. Siakam's playing really well.
Yeah. But he wasn't going to use it as an excuse to shout out Halliburton. Please.
Halliburton's not playing well. Right, so
he's had moments throughout. Halliburton was the story yesterday because Halliburton's getting an MRI and perhaps he's not going to be able to play. Anyway.
He named 4 people playing well, 4 people doing remarkable things.
And one of them is TJ McConnell.
Need I remind you that TJ McConnell had that monster
defender of the show.
Monster third quarter. My God.
I forgot.
So I took it as that.
TJ wears the jaw ones.
And that's another part.
You know, there's the connectivity there. My first instinct on things with these sometimes is, why give Stephen A. Smith the time of day? But, like you mentioned, like I mentioned, because of the voice that he has in this space. And I will remind people, Stephen A. Smith making those comments yesterday on First Take, like many comments he's made over the last few months, it's one part sports and it's another part political. Like Stephen A. Smith at this point is somebody who has flirted with running for president and splits his time doing sports talk and politics talk and being on a variety of shows, and that is where part of that comment is driven. When he's calling out local authorities, it is very much of the same nature of FBI Director Kash Patel trying to claim that Memphis is the homicide capital of America and then just running off with that. And you look at statistics right now, and that's simply not true. And that is the issue with when things get said like this. There is now somebody out there whose only perception of the city of Memphis is it's the homicide capital of America, and Stephen A. Smith saying it's so dangerous that NBA players don't want to go play there. And that's simply not true. If you look at the actual numbers, in 2023, it was bad. That was Memphis's highest murder rate ever. Murders per 100,000 people. That rate was 56. That was high. But in 2024, that number dropped to 39.8. That same year, New Orleans' number, 51.3. St. Louis, 53.9. Washington, D.C., 39.4. Detroit, 39.3. There are other cities that deal with crime. And let's be crystal clear. Memphis has a crime problem. Memphis has a violent crime problem. Like many cities, you hope to continue to make improvements to work on things that help alleviate that problem, or at least start leading to that problem being improved. And it looks, based on numbers, that there has been work done, and there will continue to be work done here in the city of Memphis. But it is so asinine for Stephen A. Smith to spout that out on national television and not provide it a nuanced conversation, because that's it. That's it. That's the end. That's the end of the segment. And then it just hangs out there, and it serves as this like low-hanging fruit for people to come at Memphis. But again, to go back to, we don't hear this about other cities. We don't hear of athletes being like, hey, Kevin Durant doesn't want to go to Minnesota, right? That's the report right now in NBA free agency. Is it because of the Minneapolis crime? Because there's crime in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I hadn't heard anything about it. No.
Jimmy Butler doesn't want to come to Memphis. He goes to Oakland. I think there's crime in Oakland. You look at, I was listening to Vernon yesterday give the example, like, is Caleb Williams not wanting to go to Chicago in the NFL because of Chicago crime? Like, what are we doing? We don't hear it happen because that is such a bizarre blanket to put on a city. And there is a responsibility about how you talk about these things. And I get it, we exist in a world now where nobody wants to take any responsibility and you just want to throw these inflammatory statements out and then run away with it. And someone like Stephen A. Smith can. He's paid a lot of money and he doesn't really answer to anyone. And this is like no skin off his back. He then proceeds last night to further instigate and replies to Jaw's tweet and basically threatens Jaw by saying, this is what we're doing now. I recall talking about the finals, but the Mem Grizz made news because of Bane getting traded and your possible extension coming up. Would you prefer I go into detail about what the hell has been going on in Memphis? Why players, have stated they're not interested in going, or even more details? Or would you like me to leave well enough alone and let the great peeps of Memphis address it on their own? Your call. I'm all ears. Again, what are we doing? Why are you fighting with players? And this becomes a Stephen A. Smith thing. Like, we are in Memphis, we're going to defend Memphis, it becomes a Memphis conversation. Stephen A. Smith, within the last 2 weeks, has gone after Tyrese Halliburton. He's called Giannis Antetokounmpo overrated. He's caught playing solitaire on his phone, solitaire Steven. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen to him. And that's what's frustrating. That's where I get to this point of utmost frustration, because this is going to continue onward. Starting a fight against Stephen A. Smith, it's a difficult thing to win because there's no losing for him. He just continues on. He just keeps antagonizing others because it's entertainment and we get the clicks and we get the attention. And I know we're spending time with it and so we're feeding into it, but it was a relevant conversation. It is a relevant conversation. And I'm just like, man, I dream of a day where the lead voice of the NBA cares more about basketball and more about selling the product of basketball than the rest of this BS. Because it's absolutely insane to me.
Listen, yes, and you said it earlier. It's hard to get players to come to small markets. Are we going to say the same thing about some of these other cities when free agents don't want to go there, or when a player who's forcing his way out of a situation doesn't have a city on his trade destination? No, we're not. And I think it's lazy the way that it was done. If he wanted to throw that out there, come back the next segment and lay out what's going on in Memphis, since you know. Come back the next segment. I think they went to a commercial break. Come back the next segment and be like, hey, this is what I know about the city of Memphis. And lay it out there and let's have that conversation. You don't just throw those types of incendiary remarks out there and then let them sit like, yeah, everybody knows. No, everybody doesn't. And the people here and the people who know what's going on have numbers to show you like, no, that's not the truth. That's not the case. So come back and explain yourself if that's how you feel. It felt like just a statement that was thrown out there, and I understand. We are in the industry, in the business of talking at times. You don't say things the way you mean for them to be said. And at times you say something as sort of an offhand remark. I know I've done it. It's like, ooh, that's not the right way to say that. I wish I would have gone back and done it a bit differently. And maybe Stephen A. Smith has some of that in him. I doubt it, but maybe he has some of that in him about this particular situation. It was just so very lazy, and the coverage of the NBA on that network from him and shows that he's on feel really, really lazy right now. And I'm not sure what the fix is other than for him and ESPN to simply be a bit better than what they are. It's hard to get free agents to come to these cities. It is. And if you are rich, just stop and think. If you are rich, where do you want to be rich at? You probably want to be rich in LA. You probably want to be rich in Miami. You would probably like to be rich somewhere in New York, Chicago. Those are international type cities. Dallas, Houston.
You can hop on a direct flight to anywhere in the world.
Anywhere. And this was such a large part of the I don't want to call it a fight, but a moment of true contention in the NBA between the smaller markets and like 4 or 5 major markets, 4 or 5 cities, because they felt like, hey, we make up the NBA. We make up more than the NBA than the Los Angeleses, the Chicago, the Dallas, Houston, New York, Miami, right? We make up more of the NBA than those teams.
Yeah.
But we can't afford to go out there and get these players. They're always going to be able to come in, and if we don't do something about the luxury tax, they're always going to be able to come in and say, hey, come live in LA and be rich. Our star players say, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. They leave, and then we're back at square one. You're allowing them to buy championships, and that's how we end up with the aprons and the second apron penalty in particular, because of the smaller market saying, hey, it's hard for us to keep our players and for us to lure free agents to us. And to my knowledge, nobody's like, yeah, and crime is bad in Detroit. You know, crime is bad in New Orleans.
Which it is in both of the, but that's not the point.
But that's not the point. And so since that's not the point there, why in the hell is it all of a sudden point here? That's where I get frustrated with the comments and with the statement. It's not about that. It's not. There's in all of these sports, there's a battle between New York and other major cities for top talent. There just is. And again, if you got a cap and you got the penalty that the NBA does with the second apron, that comes into play here because it keeps the major markets from doing what we see in baseball, where you look up and guess who's got all of the talent right now? The Dodgers. Where are the Dodgers at? LA. The Yankees. Where are the Yankees at? New York. The Mets. Where are the Mets at? New York. Right? Like,
and you want to know what's crazy? Los Angeles, New York, a lot of crime. I have been so fortunate in my life. I've lived in some incredible places. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived outside Denver. I've lived outside the Seattle-Tacoma area. And when you live in a city, you are familiar with crime. It's just a thing. Now, I grew up in the suburbs of Denver. Crime didn't really impact my life on a daily basis. But what did was having the privilege to travel a large portion of this country. Been to 44 of the 50 states and a lot of the big medium cities in between. And what you learn from an early age is, or what I learned from an early age is, be aware of your surroundings. Know where you can go. Know where maybe you shouldn't go. Maybe know where you should have heightened awareness. If you feel uncomfortable someplace, maybe don't go there. It's learning how to adapt to life in a city. And I'm not saying that's a great thing. Like, of course, I would love to address all of the roots of crime and why there is crime in this country and why poverty leads to crime and why poverty leads to different situations in schooling and how schools are funded in different cities, and how when schools are funded in different cities, kids are having different educations that then lead to job opportunities. And then, speaking of job opportunities, if there aren't job opportunities, it's difficult to build into the economy. And then you get poor cities. And what happens in poor cities? Oftentimes there's an impact on crime. And then you throw in systemic racism and everything that has happened over a century in a city like Memphis, a hub of the civil rights movement, and why that might impact Memphis more than it impacts other cities in the United States. Again, that's not impacting why an NBA player doesn't want to come play here. It's because of what CJ just laid out. Big markets versus small markets. When you have a lot of money, you want to play in these big markets. How were the Oklahoma City Thunder formed? Drafting and trades. How were the Milwaukee Bucks formed?
Drafting
and trades.
Pacers?
How were the Indiana Pacers formed? Drafting and trades. How were, New Orleans Pelicans, bad example because they're not very good.
But still.
Drafting and trades. Like, this is how small markets work, and it is just.
Spurs.
The Spurs.
There you go.
Drafting trades and the magic that was Greg Popovich. It's just, this is how this happens. And I get really, just like enraged. Enraged is the best word for it. And you said that your Memphis cape had been in the closet with some dust on it. Like, I, for the last 2 weeks, have been fighting these demons on TikTok because my husband's car was stolen. And I was really frustrated with how quickly people wanted to make my husband's car getting stolen the entirety of my Memphis experience. I've been here for 8 years, and they wanted to have the prove it moment that Memphis crime comes for everybody. And I bet you feel a different kind of way about Memphis now that this happened to you. And the truth of the matter was, I don't. Like, was I frustrated that his car was stolen? Yes. But did I watch friends' cars get stolen in Los Angeles? Yes. Have I had friends' cars stolen in Denver? Yes. In Chicago? Yes. In Milwaukee? Yes. And so I decided to start putting forward this positive Memphis campaign. And for the most part, it brought forth a lot of people who also care passionately about this city and want to change the perception of this city and the PR efforts of this city, and remind people that yes, crime is here, but crime does not define the city of Memphis. There is so much more about Memphis. And that is why, despite not being able to go out and get free agents, when you have players who come here, those players are beloved. Like, listening to Tony Allen talk on Chris's show yesterday.
If you didn't listen, go back
and listen to it, because that's who you should be listening to. A former player talking about their experience in Memphis, who now continues to live in Memphis, and says, I'm probably treated better than anybody else in the city of Memphis. There's a level of protection that comes with being a member of a professional basketball team in Memphis, Tennessee, because the community supports you, wants you to thrive, and you don't necessarily get that in a bigger market. And that's where you have a core four that will always talk so lovingly. Go back and listen to Mark Gasol on Michael Blevins' documentary when they retired Gasol's jersey, and listen to Gasol talk on Memphis. Listen to Zach Randolph talk about Memphis. Listen to Mike Conley talk about Memphis. And now listen to John Morant on Twitter tell you time and time again he's staying here in Memphis. Like, that was the biggest news yesterday in reality, news that actually matters, because everybody wants to get their talks off. The Grizzlies trade Desmond Bane. What does that mean for the Grizzlies moving forward? Are they going to trade Ja? Are they going to trade Jaren? No. It has been clear to those of us here and the Memphis media that the number one priority for the Grizzlies this offseason is re-signing and renegotiating Jaren Jackson Jr.'s contract and keeping John Morant and that relationship. You've heard it from Zach Kleiman. He says it time and time again. You've heard it from John Morant. Now he tweets. I appreciate having a tweeter in this situation. Put it out there.
And
Sources you.
The thing I appreciate about Ja in this moment, with the 3 tweets he fired off damn near immediately, he turned the comments off. He said, I know.
His comments are off always now.
Are they? Mm-hmm. Oh, see, that's nothing but growth and maturity from my point guard, my star point guard. I can't wait for him to go out there and lead this city and lead this team right now. This is one of those moments where the city will come around and be galvanized against a common enemy in Stephen A. Smith. An enemy seems way too harsh and way too severe of a word to use for somebody like Stephen A. Smith, who is nothing but
he's a character.
That's it. But that's what he is now. He is now the personification of all of the bad things that ever get said about Memphis. Right? All of the lazy, stupid, ignorant things that always get said about Memphis, we now have a face for it, and that face is Stephen A. Smith. And that's that can be galvanizing for a community, a fan base, and maybe potentially for these players as well, where it is, all right, truthfully, I hate I can't tell you how much I despise the insert place versus everybody, however you want to spell the damn thing, right? But now you can do it here. Now you can say, there it is. ESPN hates us. They're the worldwide leader. They're trying to make everybody hates us. Everybody now does hate us. Look at us. We got the chip on our shoulder now. Let's go out there and take care of business,
It
right?
fired everyone up.
Oh,
like
so
if you,
much.
You know what?
I
Thanks,
wish
Stephen A.
I wish he would have waited till October to do it.
Yeah.
And then we could the Grizzlies
Really
could
ride it
ride
into the season.
that hatred all the way
We
into
don't
the
forget,
season.
though.
No,
'Cause if there's
no.
something that
Oh no.
Memphis unifies against an enemy, Memphis doesn't forget.
Oh no.
Grudges are held here.
Yes.
To an absurd degree.
Yeah.
But no one will forget this. Receipts. I hate when people, I got the receipts. Well, we all have the receipts. And we will not forget.
Yo, stop hinting at stuff. If you know something, if you really want to get into it and
Go
really
for
want to
it.
talk about it.
Talk your talk.
Talk about it.
Go for it.
Let's have that conversation, have that discussion play out. Don't threaten almost like you're trying to blackmail somebody. Like, do you want me to? Yes, I do. I really, really do. Yeah. Let's talk about this because this isn't a crime, and the way people live in this country, that standard of living is not something that should be talked about flippantly. It shouldn't be. Talk about the finals flippantly all you want. It's sports in the grand scheme of life. We care about them. We love them. They don't matter the same way that quality of life and standard of living matter. Yeah. So if you've got something on that, talk about it. Don't do this character thing here. Break the character and let's have an intelligent.
Not able to do that.
Let's have an intelligent conversation about it.
The character has been built.
And listen,
the character is profitable.
I know what people are also here for. Just a moment. Y'all are thirsting for
the Caitlin Clark
We are
conversation.
going to trust me. We know, baby birds. We're here to feed you Caitlin Clark content. We got Caitlin Clark content for you.
Should we do it right now?
No, we don't have time. DeAngelo comes on. DeAngelo comes on. Just real quick, just to give them something before we get back to it. I can't believe so many players in the WNBA hate Caitlin Clark.
Come on. Come on. I can't believe how terrible the officiating is in the WNBA. That's my biggest takeaway. And I think you want to unify against a common enemy, WNBA fans? The officials are right there.
You saw Kelsey?
WNBA fans versus the officials.
You saw Kelsey Plum?
Yes.
That made its way onto who
We
said
didn't even talk about when Angel Reese got her braid pulled earlier this week.
No, we didn't. Jacob, get that video ready. But okay, back on Memphis. We're coming with the Caitlin Clark. We're coming
with the Caitlin Clark. You just have the way the show works. We'll
wait.
get to it. We'll talk about it for like 30 minutes straight.
Give us a second
at the top
here.
of the hour.
Give us a second to finish this because this is important.
We have to go do DeAngelo too.
This is important. We got a break to take.
I know.
We're 2 breaks behind. We're terrible. But this is important. This is because it feels like there is an effort by some to crap on Memphis so much so that things end up happening, changes of scenery end up happening for the Memphis Grizzlies. You've got just this 365 days. I won't say year, but the past 365 days. You've got your boy from the Cavs, went to Brentwood Academy, Nashville, Vanderbilt.
Darius Garland.
Got Darius Garland joking around. Not joking. I think he's sincere, but we treat it like a joke because, like, who gives a damn what you think? Talking about moving the Grizzlies to Nashville. You got Chandler Parsons popping off about moving the Grizzlies to someplace else, either Vegas or Seattle. I don't remember. You got Stephen A. Smith doing all of this, saying that NBA players aren't safe in Memphis, don't feel safe in Memphis. And it's like, hey, that's enough. We're done with that. That is not true, and that is enough, and it feels like you want this team to move because you don't know what it means to the city, and you don't know what cool things there are to do in this city, and you don't care about the city the same way the citizens care about the city, and you don't care about this team the same way that this city cares about this team. So, we're nipping that all the way in the bud now. That's why my cape is on. It's billowing in the back. You can't see it. It's invisible. It's Bill Street Blue. It says Memphis versus Errybody on it. But from now on, anytime somebody hints at something like that or says something like that, we've got to immediately step in because, no, that will not be the narrative. Move somebody else's damn team. Don't move this one. This team means so much to this city.
And you say that there is a calculated effort, and I'll call it calculated, by people to discredit Memphis and its deservingness of having an NBA team, and that's just silly and nonsense. but it's people who want to discredit Memphis, period. Like, this extends outside, and that's why Stephen A. making those comments made me and so many others so angry, because it's not just about the Grizzlies. It's everything that's veiled in that statement that then extends out to the city, and the city is on a precipice right now, and it feels like it's getting, the narrative around Memphis is getting progressively worse. Like, people are just crapping on the city constantly. That's how I feel living here. And fighting for the city is exhausting, but it is a fight worth having. And even though it's exhausting, I feel like some people, and this has always been a thing, I can't say always, but at least in my 8 years of being here, one of the issues is people in Memphis will start dumping on Memphis, and then that perpetuates other people from outside of Memphis. So it's like a mix of these people who have never been here a day in their life, other people who are here. And there is a very heavy faction of people who are fighting and fighting heavily. But it feels like when you have to fight over and over and over again, some people are getting tired. And so they're just like, you know what? I can't fight. I am here to tell you, keep fighting. Keep fighting for this city. And it is worth fighting for.
It's one thing for me to call my brother ugly. You can't call my brother ugly. We got problems. It's one thing for a Memphian who lives in Memphis, grew up in Memphis, spent time in Memphis to be like, hey, Memphis got some problems, dog. We got it. That you don't need to. And by you, I mean nationally, we don't particularly care. So, some of these suburbs as well, some of you out there in the burbs as well, don't really care what you have to say because you don't live here. You don't truthfully matter to me. And that's just the way I feel about the situation. So, like, if you want to have the conversation, and again, going back to the laziness of the throwaway statement, you want to have the conversation, Right. But don't just say that and then be like, yep, we're done talking about that now. No, because you're not, and you're lazy if you do so.
Period. We got to take a break. We got to get to DeAngelo Williams. We'll ask him what he felt about Memphis. He lived here. He played here. Not as a professional, but as a collegiate player. He comes back to Memphis. He was a star. We'll ask him how he felt out and about in the city of Memphis. And still ahead, we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark and the crash out of Marina Mabrey, which this has been happening all season. Like, if you pay attention to the Connecticut Sun, they're crazy. Mabrey, crazy. Good question, CJ. Mabrey, crazy. Jacy, Sheldon, a little crazy. And then it goes up against Caitlin and the Fever. Absolute insanity. And the officials had no control over it. We'll get into that and more on the other side.
What can the Memphis Grizzlies learn from the Thunder Pacers NBA Finals Series?
Your style of play is not something that you really have to change. Both of these teams love to play fast. Both these teams love to play really aggressively on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to GrizzBeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment. And they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up at Open Call Auditions Saturday, July 26th at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because they have. So the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra package of black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
There are futures for Aaron Judge possibly hitting 400. Hitting 400 at the All-Star break, plus 600.
Oh, wow.
To have a 400 batting average in the regular season, plus 3,800. To win the Triple Crown is only plus 145.
I don't think he's going to hit 400 for the season.
I don't either. I that would be
ridiculous.
Yes, ridiculous.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You know they smelled horrible, D. Ain't no way.
What did clean smell like? Like I don't even. That's probably boy. I couldn't.
Did we have running water in the 1800s?
Man,
weren't we having to go to wells to get water?
Yeah.
I can't do it, CJ. I was born in the right time period.
You were.
I was born in the right time period because there's no way. Like, and I couldn't imagine doing slavery. Get up and do it. First of all, it's 175 degrees outside. What are you? They're telling people to stay inside, and you want me to go work out in this cotton field? Oh no, I'm gonna die out there anyway. You might as well go and kill me. Go and take me out.
Welcome to the show, DeAngelo Williams.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday. Hey, we have a question for you.
Yes.
So, did you see Stephen A. Smith's comments yesterday? By any
No,
chance?
what did he say? What did he say?
He said that certain free agents, he was talking specifically about Jimmy Butler, but that they weren't interested in coming to Memphis because it's too dangerous. And so he was like calling out the danger of the city. But we were talking about how most professional athletes here, most NBA players, because that's our only professional team, once they're here, sure, it's difficult to attract free agents, but once someone's here in Memphis, once they know about the city, are able to live here, as a pro athlete, you live a pretty good life, and you're beloved by the city, and there's a lot of protection that comes from the city of Memphis, but also just you fall in love with Memphis. And I know you didn't play professional here, but you played your college career here and spent time as a famous celebrity of Memphis. And so I'm curious what your experience was like when you were at the U of M from that time, and you still come back here. And I would assume you still have those kind of interactions to this day.
Okay, so let me rattle off a couple of questions because I mean I'm not saying Chicago is sexy. Okay, I'm not saying Chicago is sexy, but it don't seem like they have any problems. Is it the long-standing history of championships that's drawing people? We just talking about merely the city? Are we talking about an NBA team? I'm trying to see if you're trying to connect the two or you trying to disconnect the two, and if we're just purely talking about the city, not the franchise.
What I'm really trying to say is that it's difficult for small markets to attract players, period. And for whatever reason, the perception on Memphis turns into, or in this case, you never hear somebody say a player's not coming here due to crime, even if perhaps somebody was in their household having a conversation about moving to a Chicago and being like, well, do we really want to live in Chicago? I don't know if that conversation's ever been had by a professional athlete, but perhaps. But when it comes to Memphis, it's such an easy throwaway, lazy argument to just drop and then run away from, as Stephen A. Smith did essentially. And so it's just been kind of a communal effort by Memphis to be like, what the hell are you talking about? There are a million other reasons why it is difficult for a city like Memphis to attract a free agent in a professional sports organization.
I totally get it. I mean, I understand. We're a small market. You got to understand our most successful time was grit and grind. And that was we're in a phase or an era now where, you know, it's not uncanny to just see people walk and down the court as they're dribbling the basketball. So you got differently competitive spirits, meaning Zach Randolph, you know, Tony, my big man down low. Like, it was all work. Everybody, it wasn't pretty either. Zach Randolph had the worst shot, like all his moves just look unorthodox. He was like, okay, wait, what is that? And they looked like he had spent 35 years in the league already. He'd only been there for 30 minutes.
Can you put your whole face in the damn shot, dog?
I can't. It said I got the whole face in the shot from here.
All right, go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things to where, we were grit and grind. We wasn't sexy then, and we're still not sexy now. But all you got to do is win. I mean, we got Ja Morant. We got to bring somebody in to help him. Now, I'm not saying Desmond Bane not good. I'm not telling y'all that. In fact, I think he's a really good basketball player. Do I think what we got for him, he was that type of player? I'm saying we got a lot of firepower in just that one trade.
I think you're confusing the question. We don't want your breakdown of the Grizzlies roster. We want to know about you as a superstar athlete in your sport at the time, what it was like for you in Memphis. Because you chose to come to Memphis, right? You had other offers. Absolutely. You could have gone to other schools. Were you had SEC offers? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, with that being said, I've never had a problem with University of Memphis.
Why'd you choose Memphis?
Well, the city of Memphis, because that's why I keep asking Jessica, is she talking about like the school? We talked about the city.
Just the city. Just the city, D.
Okay. So with the city, the city is absolutely amazing. I think it's the best city in the country. But you have to understand too, in any city, there's places you can go and there's places that you can't go. Yeah. And when people be like, well, name a place where you can't go, like, here's what I'm talking about when I say you can't go. You can go to LA or you can go to Skid Row if you want to, but most people are like, nah, that's an area that I can't go. So therefore, we say we can't go. There's areas in Memphis that I just won't go in. Not because it's a bad area or I'm just not comfortable there. And I'm at an age where I don't go to places where I'm uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, all the places that are Memphis that I go to are very comfortable. Those are all the places that I absolutely love. The university, around the university, we just don't venture out much. And as a man, and I hate to be like this, but as a man, we are very routine oriented from a standpoint of we go to the same restaurant, we eat the same meal. We're not ordering anything different because we know what's good there. So with that being said, once you establish your favorites, you don't step outside of your favorites. And all of my favorites are in Memphis. And what's crazy is people laugh at me all the time. Every car that I've ever owned while I lived here in Charlotte came from Memphis.
Interesting. Yeah, you brought up the word sexy, and we always talk about sexy cities. Maybe Memphis just needs palm trees.
Well,
maybe if we add the palm trees, I'm sorry, glamour cities. If we add the palm trees, then our crime can also get put in the category of exists but is not going to get brought up in conversations around free agents.
Well, no,
just need some palm trees.
What they do is they put it off on tourism. Nobody's like, hey, we're going to go to Memphis, like other than Beale Street. And then Beale Street is what give us the rap that we have.
But you'd also be shocked how many international travelers come to Memphis because they still seek out like the blues tour. They seek out Elvis. They want to go to Graceland. They'll be on a tour of the American South, and Memphis is included in that list. Listen, I know, DeAngelo, I know how we feel about Graceland here in Memphis. It does still bring.
I'm not talking about Graceland. I'm just talking about Memphis. That's one of the downers of Memphis and my city is you don't ever know what's real and what's fake because everybody got to hustle. Like you park, you trying to park in the parking lot and there's a parking lot attendant and you like, damn, where did they get a lot attendant? And this man is using free parking to park people. He charging $5 to park.
Is that the crime that keeps NBA players from wanting to come through the hustle? Is that what it is? Because like that's
I think
goofy.
Even when you brought up like Skid Row, right, DeAngelo? Like, it's not someplace that you're necessarily seeking out to spend time. And I would advise people, if you're going to a city's Skid Row, you want to know your bearings. And you're not usually trying to go there. But then there's also this. I don't know. Sometimes I think people who have never been and I don't want to categorize everybody, but people who have never
You have
been
to.
to a big
Go
city
ahead.
or been to they think if you stepped foot on Skid Row, like someone's gonna come out from behind a wall and put a gun to your head and shoot you, and that's like the end. Like if you even got caught being there, it's it for you. When I was in college, one of our assignments, we got sent to Skid Row, which looking back on it was a wild time. But being in Los Angeles,
Hold on.
we
I'm still
got
trying
sent
to
to
process
do
this.
a journalism story on Skid Row. So go down.
And you were what grade were you in?
I was in college. I was a sophomore in college.
I thought you said high school. I was like, damn.
No. I was a sophomore in college. But you went down, and I think the purpose of it was, well, many purposes, but one, to like try to find a story, two, to try to talk to people outside of your comfort zone and to ask questions and to ask the right questions and be led down various avenues to ultimately, trying to figure out the story you wanted to tell about Skid Row. But you go there, and they're people. Like everyone's people, and I get it. There are scarier areas than others. There are more dangerous areas than others, and I don't want to provide this like falsified like Pollyanna, everything's rainbows. Just go talk to people, and it works. But I just think sometimes the disconnect is like instant fear of things then leads to a lot of ignorance, frankly. And I think there's healthy fear.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
What do you mean?
Don't say that. Because I have for years have been trying to tell my wife that her being deathly afraid of snakes was ignorant. And she tells me, no, it's not. It is a rational fear. So apparently there's a such thing as a rational fear, Jessica. And I don't understand that, because if a snake has never bit you, it has never hissed at you, and you have never really seen one up close, what the hell are you scared of? How you gonna be scared of somebody else's experience that you ain't even you just saw it on TV? You ain't even you can't even confirm that it's a real interaction. It's just something you saw on TV, but you're definitely afraid.
What are you talking about?
About
snakes.
Listen. The snake doesn't have to bite me for me to know that little mother ever bites.
And the snake doesn't have to bite me to remember that old wives' tale about the person who sat down on the toilet and the snake was in the toilet and it came up and bit them in the butt.
That's irrational right there. That is an
CJ.
irrational fear right there. What
CJ,
we're talking about
you
is very rational fears, DeAngelo. If I'm bopping about in the woods, I was in Shelby Farms the other day, I'm bopping about, and if I see a snake on the path, I know, you know what? I'm gonna give that snake its space. I'm not gonna. Crocodile Hunter taught me that. Hey, snakes bite. Some of these snakes are poisonous. Red on black, will kill you, Jack. Red on yellow. Wait, red on yellow. You're okay, fellow. Red on black will kill you, Jack. Right? Like I know that. Like so,
CJ,
there's a
we're not
healthy
talking
reason to
about the
be.
same thing.
What are we talking
or like
about?
a black widow spider.
I'm talking about the ones that once they see said spider or snake or anything like that, all of the stay calm, I got enough distance, I'm okay, cool. No, I'm running over everybody. I'm putting my life now on the line because what I just saw scared me so bad that I don't want to, like those people that see a dog and run out in the street. Like, okay, so you gonna trade the dog bite for getting ran over by a damn car? Like, I'm talking about that kind of scare.
There are healthy fears. I get what you're saying. There are healthy fears, and there's a healthy way to manage your fears. And there are unhealthy ones, which, like you said, end up leading to you running over children as you try and escape this little garden snake that's in the yard.
Yes,
I got you. I follow.
You run 100-meter dashes every time you see a snake or anything like that. I'm talking about those kind of fears. That's fear. What you talking about is like scared or maybe apprehension. I'm talking about fear where if somebody whipped out a gun or something like that, you take out, that's fear. I'm talking about real fear where you get you removing yourself from the situation. Okay. That's how she is about snakes. She can see it 15 miles down the road.
Oh, I like your wife. I have a lot of irrational fears.
I told you about the time I came home and the snake was just in my living room.
No, that would absolutely terrify me.
You didn't say that. No, I know, CJ.
I was staying by DeAngelo.
It's too early in the morning for
I was staying by the University of Memphis. I was off Spotswood, right there by the Crumpies. And I was staying there.
The snake was in your living
room.
And
I get home, my wife's not home, and I'm bopping about. It's raining real heavily. If you like looking at snakes, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can go on a heavy rain day. Just go to Overton Park and walk around those woods. They're always there.
I'm good.
And so walked into the house.
Again, I
and was like,
I avoid things that scare me.
Oh no. There's a giant worm. When you look at the size of that worm in the living room, the Joker was like this long. I was like, yo, that is a long ass worm. And then I walked up to him and was like, oh no, that is actually a snake. Yeah.
Huh.
Just in the living room.
We had some cockroaches in a house that we were watching that scurried over my foot in the bathroom while I was getting ready, and that scared the living hell out of me.
Were they the ones that fly?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I didn't
know cockroaches flew.
Neither did I until I
hate finding that out.
I got to college and I was in Tuskegee, and freshman year, cockroach was in the room, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna stomp this out, and I went to whack it, and it grew wings and flew out the window, and I immediately screamed and called my father. You got to come get me. They got mutant cockroaches down here in Tuskegee. I don't know what's going on. They're still experimenting on us down here. He said, wait, mutant cockroach? What happened? I said, the cockroach flew. He's like, oh yeah, cockroaches fly. And he just hung up the phone. Like, yeah, I'm done.
I'm like still deathly afraid of sharks. Jaws ruined me as a kid. I lived in a landlocked state, and I would, if someone said, what's your biggest fear? I'd say a shark. Why?
No,
think it's going to come up in the Colorado River growing up? Like, no. But still to this day.
Get in the ocean? Do you get in the ocean?
I get in the Pacific Ocean. I don't get in the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, so
because sharks don't swim
and
to the Pacific?
And I've already done research. I'm going to Antigua in a couple of weeks, and I've already done research that there aren't shark attacks there, so I will go in that ocean.
I have one irrational fear. And I know it's irrational fear, and it's stupid. I'll live with it for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with it. Y'all can crack jokes all y'all want to. Y'all can say what y'all, but I can make this statement with extreme prejudice.
Okay.
Extreme prejudice.
Okay.
DeAngelo Williams
I'm nervous.
will never ride a horse. Okay?
DeAngelo, I am so with you, and I got bamboozled. Give me your experience, please.
No. I don't have an experience.
Okay.
I am a Superman fan, and when Christopher Reeve got tossed
got
off
paralyzed.
Yes,
Thank you.
I told myself I'd never ride a horse ever.
And there was a little girl in Gone with the Wind who got thrown off a horse too and died.
I got a buddy.
I
got a buddy who got thrown off a horse concussed.
Well, concussed you can live from. I don't want to be paralyzed and I don't want to die.
There's no reason. And somebody please help me understand this. There's no reason that whoever you believe in touched us with enough ingenuity to produce cars when we still getting on damn horses and think it's fun.
No. I didn't know that I married a horse boy. And I grew up making fun of horse girls. Sorry if you're a horse girl.
There's no way, Chris.
All of a sudden I found out Chris went to a dude ranch when he was a kid and he had the time of his life.
I thought he was from Memphis. No?
No, Chris is from San Francisco.
And also,
Chris
horses
is a
are in
crunchy
Memphis.
granola Northern California kid who went to a dude ranch once and decided he was going to be a cowboy. And he lived with him forever. And so when we were going to Argentina last year, he told me, he was like, Jess, the only thing I want to do, I have one request for our trip to Argentina. I want to go horseback riding in Mendoza. So not only does he want to get on a horse, he wants to do it in a foreign country where I don't speak Spanish. The horses speak Spanish. How am I going to talk to the horse? And so leading up to our trip to Argentina, he made us go take horseback riding lessons over at Shelby Farms. So I got on a horse because my one experience with horses as a kid was we were on a family trip and with another family, and they all went horseback riding, and I was dubbed too small to get on the horse, and so they left me back at the home base, and they put me on a mule, and I just had to go in circles on a mule where everybody else went horseback riding, and that's the day I decided I hated horses. But then Chris made me get on a horse, and I really didn't like it. But then we did get on the horses in Argentina, and I saw my life flash before my eyes as I climbed a mountain on the back of a horse.
I'm telling you right now, there's a few hard no's in DeAngelo's life.
Getting on a horse?
I am.
Support.
You don't ever have to. I don't
support.
Look, if Chris was like, "Hey, you got to prove my love and go to Argentina and ride this horse,"
you were like, "No."
Hey, no. Chris. It's been real, man. I hate to have to end this way. I'd never ask you to do something that you didn't want to. Like, first of all, the fact that you even wavered on it lets me know, Jessica, that you're not as strong in your no's as you are in your yeses.
Oh, that's 100% true.
You just now found that
working on boundaries every day, DeAngelo. Every day.
Oh.
Every day. And that's how I ended up on a horse. But you want to know, but the problem is, here's the problem with facing your fears. It was the coolest thing we did in Argentina. It was truly the coolest experience. Was I terrified? Yes. Was it the coolest thing we did while we were there? Also, yes.
That is horrible. So if I'm you, I'm attacking Kristen. Why is horseback riding the coolest thing? Like I don't even do this, and this is the coolest thing. We got to step our game up. Let's go zip lining. Let's go do what a whole
No,
bunch
that's
of
where
white
I draw a
people
line.
like
I will
doing.
not jump off. I will not bungee jump. I will not skydive. I will not zip line.
Look, I
will absolutely not parachute. I
You
barely
say
can get
that,
on a
you
hanging
said
bridge.
You wasn't gonna ride a damn horse, and Chris got you on the horse. Chris,
My dad
you got
made me go
work to do.
paragliding once. Never
Chris,
again.
You got work. Who does that stuff? Like, how do you wake up? Explain to me. Can we get your dad on here? I want to ask somebody like that.
Oh, how we ended up paragliding over the beaches of Normandy?
Yes. Yeah,
My dad read about it. He read about it in one of those, those Hemisphere magazines on United Airlines? My dad read about, it was, what anniversary of D-Day did we just celebrate? It was one of the anniversaries coming up of D-Day. And there was an article about how you too can paraglide over the beaches of Normandy. And we were going to France as my graduation trip from college. And my dad had found this company that allowed you to paraglide. And this is how crazy this was. He was just WhatsApping this random number. There was no website, no anything. He got it on email. The weather, they texted us that morning and said the weather's too bad to go out. We're not going to be able to paraglide. I was like, oh, too bad, so sad. We're at the cemetery. It's beautiful. We're walking around. My dad gets a text. They're like, hey, we have an opening of clearance in the air if you still want to jump. Next thing I know, we're in the car driving to a Google Map point that they had sent. And it's just us two and these two paraglide instructors. And I swear this all happened within 20 minutes. I didn't have time to think, thank God. I'm lined up. Next, I'm paragliding over the beaches of Normandy. And my dad crashed. It was nuts. He's okay. It makes for a really funny story now. Yeah. So I won't be doing it again. But sometimes you gotta do things that scare you. If we only lived life without fear.
Bringing it all the way back. Some fears are rational, some are irrational. Having a fear of Memphis, Tennessee is irrational. If you face that fear, you'll discover some really cool stuff in the city.
And that's why they pay you the
There
big
you
bucks.
go.
DeAngelo, we'll catch up with you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Love your shirt, CJ.
Where's my money? I want my big bucks.
I was looking for the bucks. I have none. Here's your Monopoly money.
Okay.
There used to be a fake $100 bill here.
Oh, and it got me every single damn day.
Be gone.
Until that one day, I told you I picked up a wad of money. It was like, oh, this belongs to somebody.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, finally, we're gonna talk about Caitlin Clark. Can I just tell you? Hey, this is a real headline. I thought this was a joke. I thought this was photoshopped. I just Googled it to verify because I've already been sent out twice this week. Athlon Sports headline. Oh, they've changed it. What was it? Caitlin Clark goes viral after getting decked by Angel Reese's former teammates.
There we go.
They're doing it right. They're getting those
That's how you
clicks
have to
right.
do it.
All right, we'll talk about all the action in last night's WNBA Stanley Cup Finals as well. It was wild. We're taking a break. Bye.
We'll be back.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Clark Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Clark Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies at home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today. The Grizzlies, grannies, and grandpas have the right moves and are currently looking for new members to join their team for the upcoming season. These soulful seniors are a fan favorite group throughout Grizz Nation. You do not have to be a grandparent, but you must be at least 50 years old with personality, rhythm, and passion for performing. If that sounds like you, then we want to see you on Sunday, June 29th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because they have. So the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra package of black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
The Tigers are going to play in November in the Bahamas, the Baha Mar tournament, and the other teams expected to be there. Purdue, Wake Forest, and possibly Texas Tech. So Texas Tech's going to be good. Purdue's going to be good. If you don't have a roster that puts you in that same conversation, that could be a tough trip to the Bahamas.
Yep.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
It's time for our Pick Six, Mike. 6 classics that we're most looking forward to in the 2025 football season.
Las Vegas, obviously, that's the Grambling State University, Jackson State University clash. They're taking 2 iconic HBCU brands going to an NFL stadium in Las Vegas.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
All right, welcome back. On to the next war.
Caitlin Clark. Woo!
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Commissioner's Cup was at stake last night.
Yeah, it was.
In the WNBA. All the Fever had to do was beat the Connecticut Sun to likely secure their place in the Commissioner's Cup finals against the Lynx. And by all I say, they just had to beat the Sun. They also had to survive the battlefield because last night turned into a brawl fest, a brouhaha, as some would say, for the Fever and the Sun. To set some background, because I do realize some people are unfamiliar with the history between Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon. Jacy Sheldon played at Ohio State while Caitlin Clark was at Iowa. So they're both in the Big Ten. Their college careers lined up. They're playing against each other. There were some pretty epic battles between those two teams. Caitlin Clark got the best of Ohio State, as Caitlin Clark got the best out of many. Jacy Sheldon was usually her primary defender. Caitlin Clark made life really difficult for her at times, but this has been a growing rivalry, like a real rivalry. We try to make rivalries happen all the time. You can actually flesh out one between Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark goes number 1 to the Fever. Jacy Sheldon gets drafted number 5. I think the Wings originally took her. She gets traded to the Sun. That's where she is now. We had a game earlier this season where you saw the Connecticut Sun, who are very bad this year, as we have documented on this show, and they do have some spicy players on their roster in Jacy Sheldon, in Marina Mabry, who is always on crash out alert. And if you follow her family members on TikTok, it's hysterical. But Jacy Sheldon in the game earlier this season, there was the injury on Sid Colson. There was the injury on Sophie Cunningham. And so there's already been this layer set of kind of amplification between the Fever and the Sun. So we get to last night's game, and immediately it feels extra. And particularly Sheldon guarding Caitlin Clark. It's physical. She's pushing her. She's grabbing her. She's staying stuck to her like glue. You have this moment in the second quarter where they're popping off to one another, and Caitlin gives the little shove to Jacy Sheldon. Marina Mabry steps in there. Caitlin Clark's out, but do not worry, because this would all come back and boil over with the moment of the third quarter where the Fever are up 10. And this is the incident that everybody is talking about today. And you're looking at Jacy Sheldon defending Caitlin Clark once again. One-on-one action, bumping, physicality. This is the 90s. Sheldon pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. And then Caitlin pushes her, and then Mabry comes out of nowhere, pushes Caitlin Clark to the ground. Tina Charles is in there too. Sheldon gets a flagrant one for this whole altercation. Caitlin, Mabry, and Clark get techs. And then this is the end of the game. That's Sophie Cunningham dragging down Jacy Sheldon to the ground. And this pops off, and we have a full-on fight on our hands in the WNBA. CJ is the keeper of fights. You're the keeper of the fights. Can I call that a fight?
No.
Are we calling it a kerfluffle?
No.
We calling it a kerscuffle?
A dust up.
A dust up?
You can call it a herful if you want.
No, that feels
It's
somehow
not March.
sexist.
I'll wait for herful.
And I heard somebody else was like, oh, the WNBA turned into roller derby last night. I was like, that feels...
That's different. That
also sexist.
That absolutely is. Kerhuffle is just a nice...
Kerhuffle. This is
nice
herstory. This is a shiro in real time.
No, that's after what ended up happening. After somebody got taken out in the Pacers, late in the Pacers Thunder game 4 or game 3. It was decided already the Thunder weren't going to be able to win it. It was late. And Jalen Williams sort of turned and looked at the ref. I can't remember exactly who the two players were. Jalen Williams looked at the ref like, hey, do something. That's what I wanted him to do. Just go over there and start grabbing people. You don't have to throw hands, but you can grab and tug and pull and, maybe accidentally elbow a rib or something like that.
That wasn't accidental.
That's
there is no accidental nature from Sophie Cunningham on that play.
Once you get into the tussle, you can accidentally get stuff going.
Got it.
But you're not going to be able to do my teammate that way. You're just not.
Right. That's one of the reasons the Fever go out and get Sophie Cunningham.
That's why I applaud her for doing that. I think everybody, we always look for, all right, who's to blame in this situation of high escalating tension? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Right? Or good dude that, bad dude that. I don't know. Good lady, bad lady. I don't know what we do. But in this moment, I think everybody's good. I think if you're guarding Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark's been busting your ass for 6 years, I understand being frustrated to the point of all right, we're just gonna be physical. You beat me in basketball all you want. You can't whoop my ass, so let's find out. And I understand why after getting poked in the eye by somebody who's been a true twerp the entirety of the game, why your immediate reaction after getting poked in the eye at that, if you're Caitlin Clark, is to hit her with a forearm shiver in the sternum. I understand why Mabry comes in and shoves Caitlin Clark because you're not going to hit my teammate. And then I understand Sophie Cunningham for grabbing her and taking her out, right? And everything that ensues after that. I applaud everybody involved. That is what sports is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be that level of competing. It's that level of competition. It's that level of a desire to be better and to win and to impose your will on an opponent. I think it was great.
So here's the thing.
Okay. What's the thing?
Some people, there's a lot of different angles for this. Some people are going to be able to scream, the league needs to do a better job at protecting Caitlin Clark. We talk about this in the NBA all the time and the WNBA. Protect your stars. And other stars in the WNBA have been asking for protection of their own. Protect your stars. If Caitlin Clark's getting poked in the eye and then getting shoved by someone coming out of left field in Marina Mabry, someone's got to get ejected in that case. So protect your star. Others are going to yell, yeah, but that star is an instigating pest, because that's what Caitlin Clark is. No damsel in distress. That is not who she is. She is an instigator, which I love. It makes her as a competitor all the more fun to watch, because not only is she going to just destroy you in the wildest threes that have ever been taken against your team, one after another, she's also going to scream in your face, you can't guard me. And again, when it comes to Jacy Sheldon, there's history there. So you really can't guard me. I've known this for 6 years, and now we're continuing this on again. The Fever also instigated too, because you have a player like Sophie Cunningham who was brought in to act as an enforcer-like player and to protect Caitlin Clark. That's part of the role. Now, can you also make the argument, why is Sophie Cunningham doing this with the Fever up 17 in the last minute of the game when the game is essentially over? I'm saying some people will. I'm not. I don't care about it. At that point, that's what Sophie's for. You're making a statement against your team. This is what happens.
When did the dust-up happen?
The third quarter, and that is why where I would direct my ire in this entire situation is on the officials. That is who is to blame for what happened last night. I could care less about Caitlin Clark talking her ish, getting her stuff off. I could care less about Sophie Cunningham coming to her defense and taking down a player, because on the flip side of that, Jacy Sheldon's been doing it all game. Marina Mabry's been doing it to different teams, including the Fever, all season. But what happens in these cases is if the officials had come in that third quarter altercation, like when it really escalated, when you're getting the eye poke, when you're getting the shove, when Caitlin Clark's down on the ground, somebody has to get ejected. And in that situation, it was probably Marina Mabry. Marina Mabry should have been ejected because it sets a tonal change. It says, this has to stop. This has escalated too far. This has gotten away from just physical rough and tumble. I love the 90s. This is how we play the game. This is now in a position where somebody could get hurt, and this is not fun for anyone. This is not safe for anyone. Somebody's out. And then that changes how the game is played. But instead, everybody stays in. We continue on with our business. And that's why you get Sophie Cunningham chasing down Jacy Sheldon at the end of the game. And that's why you get the skirmish, the kerfluffle, the herfluffle that pops off after that. So there's no one to blame last night but the refs. That's the only person to blame.
Kerherful.
I'm so sorry, kerherful.
Kerherful.
As a woman, it's hard for me to get it right sometimes.
Hey, listen.
It's not March anymore.
You like the rest of the women in the W, are no damsel in distress, right? There aren't any of those out there.
I'm not a damsel. I'm not in distress.
There's none of those out there right now.
Hercules is not saving us.
No. And so, if you're not going to your point, if you, the refs, are not going to get control of this, guess what that means I get to do as a player? It means I get to get control of it.
Right.
It means that I set the message and I let them know, because these two teams play again, correct me if I'm wrong, July 15th? Like, they play again in a couple of weeks. And I want it to be known, if I was out there on the court, I'd want it to be known, hey, I'm gonna give you something to remember me by, so that next game, just hold that in the back of your mind. And it can be basketball, it could be something else, and I'm fine either way it goes, right? But to your point, the refs absolutely in that moment. That's why we see ejections happen in sports. It's not necessarily because what somebody did was so egregious. Like that little bump Caitlin Clark took, the one that knocked her down, yeah, it was a shove, but it wasn't so egregious that somebody had to be tossed for the simple act of the shove. But to your point, to keep control of the moment and keep control of the game, somebody's got to go. And so you pick a player and you toss a player. You say, all right, we're giving technicals out and somebody's getting the hell up out of here. So you keep control of the game, so that what ends up happening late in that game, while I do love it and I do support it and I don't think there was anything wrong done, it doesn't happen, because you don't want somebody to end up seriously injured or hurt. She could have went out there and lost a little bit of control and grabbed her, headlocked her, and flung her, and then she lands on the shoulder, and now we've got this injury that pops off because of a fight, because of a kerfuffle, if you will. So that's why you do that. I look forward to when they play again, though. I can't wait.
Says nobody about any Sun game this season, but yes, now I also can't wait until they play again.
Has RG3 weighed in yet? I want to know his stance on this. I want to know if he thinks that
I just think it's so funny because I saw somebody
also
joke last night, and they were like, I can't wait for the headline that says Angel Reese's former teammate gets in a fight with Caitlin Clark, and then that actually happened. Like, that is a wild thing to occur. But ultimately, and I do think there also is a genuine conversation to be had about, you do have to protect your stars. I say this all the time, and I know people in Memphis hate it. I live with a Golden State Warriors fan who thinks Steph Curry is the least protected star in the history of the NBA, that he doesn't get calls, that he's not taken care of, that he's put in a position. And it's amazing that up until this last playoffs, he really hadn't been hindered by a significant injury, given how much contact that he takes, and there's not any sort of regulation from the eyes of Golden State Warriors fans. That's becoming a narrative with Caitlin Clark, too. That there are multiple situations where she's taking hard fouls that are not called, and in a situation like last night, she's getting pushed to the ground in a dead ball, and that player is not ejected.
She earned getting pushed to the ground.
That's fine.
Right? Like that's.
But if you're the one who does the pushing, there has to be something done.
They're not in distress. You
No,
don't have to.
But you
don't
can
have
say
to
that without that
baby
person
them.
being in distress and without them babying.
Don't baby them.
No, and I agree with you on that.
Okay, so but
I agree with you on that.
Just
but
because
you
she
do
hit the
get
ground doesn't
eventually
mean
you
gotta
get
make a
superstar
call.
calls, and I
no,
do
you
think
don't. You don't need to.
LeBron
That's
James
the
gets superstar
yeah,
calls
that's
every
awful.
damn game.
That's awful.
Yeah, I
that's
hate
terrible. That's atrocious. I don't want the solution to LeBron getting superstar calls and nobody else getting
Is
them.
not other players
Is it
getting
other
superstar calls?
It's to stop giving him that shit. That's the solution.
Fine.
I appreciate Caitlin Clark. I marvel at her game. I do not. Part of the reason I marvel at her game is because she's able to get up and face down that level of physicality, right? Like, that's cool to me. That's awesome to me. That's fun for me to sit down and watch them play through the physicality.
The opposing team as she's running off the court. I love when she's bringing the fans into it. I agree. Caitlin Clark is a show. We do this with so many words. Showmanship expert, a showwomanship expert. She's a showmanship expert. We don't have to do this.
Showpersonship?
Yeah, showpersonship. She lives for those moments.
Yeah,
like they
so
fuel her. Like all
don't take
great
that
athletes
away.
in the history of the world, she is fueled by the hate, the disrespect, every perceived
is she? Is she fueled by that?
No, I think she's fueled by just making people look stupid.
Is she?
I think she's fueled by her greatness. Yes.
I think that might be what fuels
But
it.
that
I don't
makes
know if
people
Caitlin
look-
Clark is
you don't
out
think-
here with a chip.
you don't
like,
think
like
6
this
years-
person said blah, 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 blah about me.
I
Because
don't think
also
it's
those
about.
people are few and
I
far
don't think
between.
it's about that this person said blah 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 blah
Okay.
about me. I think it's more about like this person cannot guard me fairly, and this person has to resort to being as physical as humanly possible. I'm not going to get these calls, or at least in her brain, I'm not getting these calls, so I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm just going to smoke you anyway. Like I do think there's some element to that.
Think
And then
there's
she
an act
turns
of
and she gets back in the
defiance.
face.
Okay.
You can't guard me. Nothing you can do. What the F do you think you can do?
When she told her, I can do whatever the F
I can do
want.
whatever the F I want. Like
It's like
you can grab my
like
arm
in-
and I can still do whatever the F I want.
in that moment, it is like I kind of understand as somebody who has had his ass busted by dudes and in moments of frustration just resorted to fouling. I understand Jacy's frustration in that moment. Because what are you like? Okay.
Also, you're on a
can
two-win
do-
team.
You can do whatever the hell you want. Win the basketball game. We're 2 and whatever, but we're undefeated in fights. Come fight me about this,
Right.
dog. I got kicked out of a game my senior year of high school. Got in so much trouble. I
Shocked.
got like 8
I'm
fouls.
shocked.
I picked up 8 fouls. So I fouled out. I had a tech when I fouled out. I threw the guy. They gave me another tech. I cursed the ref out. They gave me another tech. And then on the bench, I said something to the other ref. I got another tech. They teed me up. 3. I think they gave 2 of them to the bench because they couldn't give me any more. How I was allowed to stay on the bench is beyond me in that moment. I was enraged. But why was I upset? Because I had to guard a dude who was giving me 30, and there was nothing I could do about it. I understand the frustration in that moment as a competitor. I understand, right? You're gonna do whatever you can to compete at the highest level that you can, and in moments of frustration, you end up swiping down. I don't think you can intentionally go for somebody's eye. Didn't we have this conversation about Caitlin Clark last year?
Yeah.
I don't think you can intentionally go.
They
at
can't hold her back.
somebody's
They're trying to
eye.
You heard it here first. The W is trying to blind Caitlin
But
Clark.
that was very clearly a foul. That was very
Yes.
clearly a wind up also where it is.
Yes,
Okay,
which is why she
you're
gets
not
the flagrant
really
and the rest of
making
them gets tags.
You're not really making a basketball play in that moment. You need to chill out. Here's your flagrant. And then after that, I understand if you get slapped in the eye by somebody you do not like and somebody you had to tell, yo, shut up. I'll do whatever I want to. I understand why you hit her with a forearm shiver in the chest, and then I understand why teammates respond the way teammates do.
Yeah.
I do. But again, somebody's got to go. Otherwise, you'll end up with a situation where we got these women in the W fighting it out or kerhuffling it out in the stands. That's some good stuff. You could have injected that moment straight into my veins. I would have snorted it like powder. That's good
This
stuff.
is why our show gets taken down for shocking content. Caitlin had 20 points, and the Fever won.
And they're in the
As they
Commissioner's
should have.
Cup.
And they're in the Commissioner's Cup finals against the Lynx on July 1st. And I really hope Nafisa Collier left the Lynx's game yesterday with a back injury. And I hope that Nafisa Collier is back by the time of that matchup, because those are the games that I really want to see from this Indiana Fever team, is against the likes of the and I know they just beat the Liberty, so everyone chill out, but the Liberty without John Cole Jones and without Fibich. I want to see full strength battles between the Liberty, the Lynx, and then the teams right below them, and the Fever are one of those teams. Just like last night, the Liberty come back and beat the Dream, and I'm so sorry, CJ, but Sabrina Ionescu had her second straight 30-plus point game for the New York Liberty. First time in her career, back-to-back 30 pieces.
You don't have to tell me sorry. I haven't said anything bad about Sabrina all year on the show.
Get out of here.
I haven't. She won the champion. She was on the team that won the championship. She gave an incredible performance game 3 last year in the WNBA final. I'm not even bringing up the fact she completely disappeared the last 2 games of the series. I'm not bringing that up at all. She's a champion. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing. I would say on the everybody healthy standpoint, I would like to see that also. The Fever beat a shorthanded Liberty team.
Yes.
The Liberty clearly beat a shorthanded Fever team. That was a game right before Caitlin Clark decided, and the Fever decided, she needs to sit out for a couple of games to get healthy. Remember, Caitlin Clark was struggling to shoot, struggling to get by players off the dribble with that, what was a hamstring injury. Yeah. So I would like to see them healthy, and Nafisia and the Lynx healthy going up against each other. It's going to be some good stuff with that.
Lynx still beat the Aces last night, 76-62. And Collier only played 19 minutes in that game with 7 points. So big night for Courtney Williams with 20 points. They got some good production off the bench. Everyone was focused on the war in the WNBA last night, but perhaps the biggest story was the peace that came between Arike Ogunbowale and Gino Auriemma, because Gino was in the house for the Wings game last night, and the Wings won. So maybe Gino needs to come more often, because the Dallas Wings got the win last night over my Valkyries. And after the game, Arike posted that she dapped up Gino after the game. The beef has been squashed, which for people who aren't familiar with the beef between Arike and Gino, it goes back to when she was in high school, and she tweeted her recruiting list in order of Louisville, Notre Dame, Ohio State, UCLA, Wisconsin. And then I think it was a day later, Gino the coach of the UConn Huskies, one of the greatest coaches of all times, gets on Twitter and side tweets, or what do we call it? Passive aggressively tweets, subtweets. Stay tuned for my list of the 5 players I saw the past 7 days that I have zero interest in recruiting. # what a joke. A wild thing for a coach to do. And so then when you fast forward to Arike playing at Notre Dame, and she had that March Madness run where she had back-to-back buzzer beaters, one in the Elite Eight and then another in the Final Four. And the one in the Final Four was against UConn, and it felt extra personal. And so people have always kind of deemed this Arike versus Gino situation. And then last night, Gino shows up to support Paige. Wings get a rare dub this season. Arike had 19 points in the win on 7 of 19 shooting. And then she dapped up Gino after the game. So Paige made them wear their Get Along shirt. And now perhaps they can all get along peacefully. Shout out to the Dallas Wings for their second win of the season.
Just a couple of 2-win teams that feel
I can't believe we're talking about two win teams.
Well, you talk about one because they got the fighting with Caitlin Clark.
And we talk about the other because they got Paige Beckers.
Anybody gets the fighting with Caitlin Clark, we're going to talk about it because we feed you, baby birds, the Caitlin Clark content. That's the only reason we do a show in the summertime. The only reason we do a show in the summertime is if the Grizzlies make a trade. And because Caitlin Clark is in the W.
Caitlin Clark City Media,
yes.
CCCM.
Yes, we got to send her flowers or something. Just a little thank you.
You know how we go by GCM?
Yes.
It's Grand Caitlin Media in the summer. Sorry.
Okay.
I was going to say the other word, and that was going to be really bad, so I stopped
concerned.
it.
I was concerned.
Do we have to take a break? Or can we throw the break on at the end? It's 9:30.
What do you want to do, Jessica?
I want to throw the break on at the end, but I don't want to get in trouble.
What's going to happen?
Oh, Jacob, that was the largest. I cannot believe the side just escaped. Fine. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Okay, now he's saying we can end the show. I was going to say, we'll come back. We'll talk about the Panthers winning the Stanley Cup final. We didn't even get to that. A dynasty in Florida. Hockey Town, USA.
Hey.
It was such a boring game. They won 5-1. I wanted a little excitement.
You saw
Sorry, I got Kate. I wanted a little excitement. I got Stephen A. Smith versus Memphis, and I got Caitlin Clark versus the Sun. What more could I ask for
You
in a day?
saw 6 goals in a hockey game. That's not boring, Jessica.
When 5 of them are for one team, it gets a little...
Well, clearly it's a beatdown at that
outrageous.
point, but you can still get to see 5 goals from one team.
We'll say nobody does post-game scenario better than the Stanley Cup final. I think the Stanley Cup final game-winning team celebration with the cup is one of the best sports celebrations that we do.
One of those dudes grabbed the cup. Bravowski? I don't know, man. Listen, I've watched like 6 hockey games. I'm sorry. I apologize for messing up his name.
You and everyone. Did you see the athletic piece on it?
What?
Less people are watching the Stanley Cup finals than ever before.
Well, Hey.
So you're just one of many.
I'm watching the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm not watching much else. I say all that to say his name again, Jacob. Bobrovsky. He went back. Everybody's left. I guess they've got the workers in there still cleaning up the arena and stuff. He brings the cup out there on the ice. It's just him and people like in the nosebleeds in the stadium attire, and he's celebrating with them holding up the Stanley Cup. It's incredible stuff.
The cup.
It's a wonderful.
We don't have a show tomorrow. Everybody.
No. You're welcome.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you. CJ will be back on Friday. I'm off on Friday. But he will see you.
You're such a good ally. You took 2 days off.
And I wanted to give you an amplified voice on Friday. You know, I just want to take a step back.
It does feel like
my people talk a little too much.
It does feel like you're making me do a little bit more work for not a little bit more money.
They're making the teams play tomorrow.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Game 6
Oh.
tomorrow.
So
you might be talking about the NBA. I won't have an opportunity on Friday to talk about the potential NBA champion, Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm calling it. It's going 7.
Okay.
It's going 7. Then we'll be back on Monday to talk about it more. But everybody, thanks for joining us on this fun-filled, war-filled day. Go find some peace in your life today. We'll see you later. Bye.
We'll get your thoughts on Game 6 on Monday, because that'll be the end.
I'll take 4 days to think about it.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
You've seen the Grizz line jamming on the court and rocking out on Beale Street, and this is your chance to join the best drum line in the NBA. Grizz line entertains Grizz Nation at home games and events in the Mid-South through their impressive techniques and energetic shows. If you have experience in drumming and marching and love entertaining, Grizz line is the perfect opportunity for you to combine percussion and performance. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Sign up today by visiting grizzlies.com/auditions.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Catch us if you can at Southland Casino Hotel and win your share of up to $1.8 million in free play and prizes. Join us for drawings every Saturday in May, June, and July. Each month, over 900 winners will take home free play or drive off in a new car or motorcycle. Be there for all 6 grand finale drawings and try to catch us if you can, only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
We get to the main event. And you hear the crowd. There's some rumblings in the crowd.
Here we go.
They say, "We want truth."
I love how John Cena said when they were chanting, "We want truth." You can't handle the truth.
There you go.
I loved it.
He takes the knee off, boom. Takes the mask off, boom. And it's our freaking truth. God, man, he cost John Cena the match.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
There are futures for Aaron Judge possibly hitting 400. Hitting 400 at the All-Star break, plus 600.
Oh, wow.
To have a 400 batting average in the regular season, plus 3,800. To win the Triple Crown is only plus 145.
I don't think he's going to hit 400 for the season.
I don't either. I that would be
ridiculous.
Yes, ridiculous.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.